Hi guys, welcome to the Cloudcamp training program offered by Train with Shiva. And can you guys confirm whether you can see my screen and also can you hear me loud and clear? You can message me on the chat. Great, great. Thanks for your active response. Please do also maintain the same active response throughout the training program. This way, it would be very much easier for us in both the directions, whether you guys understand me well or not, whether if you can understand the way that I teach or not. So you can always write me in the chat so that I can also proactively respond to the same. So let us start and welcome to the Cloud Camp once again. And in this training program, we are going to have several. We will learn several new things. It is not only just that it will be just a programming thing. Not only that, but I will try my level best to train you guys in such a way that you are no longer fearful in writing some programs on your own at a very easy pace. Okay, so let us now start. So welcome to the API programming with Python that is offered by Cloudcamp. My name is Pavan Kumar Akula and I am your instructor. Before I start with the content, I just wanted to introduce myself. I currently have around 8 years of work experience and I have completed my master's in information and communication systems in the year 2016 from TU Chemnitz, Germany. Right now, I'm working as a development engineer at a company called Fusion Systems, at which we currently perform several machine learning based approaches and also deep learning based approaches and also self-driving cars and almost all the new technologies that you name it, we are using them at our company. Now, with this short introduction, I just wanted to also enlighten you guys that with the latest project that I'm currently working on is based on the deep learning project, in which we are trying to estimate the poses of a human being, whether he is sitting, whether he is standing, or whether he is lying on the ground. So, or what is where is he currently located? So, all this information, so we can actually get from that particular from the particular project. In addition to that, we are using APIs a lot because recently we have also developed an API at our company in which the client can actually send a request to us and then we will get a response. So you will actually understand this in much detail once we go forward in the training. But before that, the reason why do you have to learn programming? That is more important to understand. So let us say that you wanted to perform a task and you say that, yes, why can't I perform a task? I can do it on my own. Then what is the need for using why do we need a computer at first place if we can do a task on our own? But let us say if we wanted to do 1000 tasks at the same time, is it possible for us as a human being to do so? Please to respond me on the chat. If you wanted to perform, let us say like 1000 tasks in parallel, as a human being, is it possible for you to do or not? That's correct. That we can't do it because we are human beings, right? We are not robots. That's correct. Vamsi has correctly mentioned it that we are not robots. So what do we do is like that we inform computer that we say like that computer, I need this task from you. So so can you please do that for me? Computer will say, why do I have to do the task for you? Is it okay? If why do I have to do that? Because you haven't given me any instructions to do so. Then then how can I do that? Then we will say, okay, computer, I understand what is your problem and let me now start giving instructions to you. So then we start giving instructions to the computer in such a way that computer can understand them and perform the tasks for us. Now, how do we write and how do we provide instructions to the computer? Does computer understand English language? Do you think so? Do you think computer can understand English or not? That's great. Why doesn't it understand English? As human beings, if we can understand, then why can't computers can understanding? Bytecode, okay, to be precise, it's a machine, that's correct. Then some more. It can only understand machine language, that's also correct. What is a machine language at first? Machine language is nothing but it is just bytes. It is just bits, one and zeros, only binary language. Very good, Vamsi. So yes, Sri Lalita, Jansi, everyone are saying perfectly correct. So it can only understand zeros and ones. So, but as a human being, can we write a program in zeros and ones? Is it possible for us? No, we can't write it. What we know is just plain English, or what we know is like maybe our mother tongue or whatever the language that we know. We just know that, but we do not know the ones and zeros language that which computer can understand. For this purpose, what we usually do is we say, okay, computer, I will better give you all the instructions that you need in order to perform a task, and we provide this information to the computer in form of a program, the form of a program. So we try to write all everything as an instruction, and then we provide it. But to provide this instruction, there are several ways. So now, for this particular reason, people have actually chosen to use a programming language, and one such very highly popular programming language is Python. So let me start with a brief history of Python. Why do you have to go for Python at first place? And who is the founder, who is the inventor of Python? So that is more important that you need to understand. So this guy, his name is Goodyear van Rossum. I'm not sure if I am pronouncing it correctly or not. So he was working at Centrum Wiskunde and Informatica in Netherlands, and he worked as a lead developer until 12th July 2018. And in 2019, active Python core developers had elected 5-member council to lead the project. So which means, unfortunately, Gudo van Rossum had to come out of that particular group. And then in addition to that, what happened is like that this Python had a very huge, vast history base. It was developed in 1990, to be precise, in 1990s. So which means it is already there with the community for the past approximately like 30 years or even more. At that point of time, initially there were a couple of versions that has been come out. So the first version that has come out is Python 1.x. After that, the major versions that were released was Python 2. When I started learning Python programming language in the year 2017, I believe, at that point of time, I have started with Python version 2. And then I started learning Python programming, and then, okay, so it seems to be nice and all. Then all of a sudden, I came to know that even there is Python 3. I thought, well, okay, so if I know Python 2, then Python 3 should be easy. And to my surprise, there was some syntax, there were some syntactical changes that were there. And for that particular reason, but by the time Python 2 was actually there in the community for long amount of time, there were so many developers who have actually supported Python, and they have actually shared their scripts that were written in Python 2. Now, when others started using them in Python 3, they used to get errors. Now, what are these errors and how do they rectify them? So that is all total different ball game. And we will understand how can we actually resolve them. And we will understand. So what people have actually done is, whenever they write some scripts, they ensure that it is backward compatible. So what do I mean by that is, for example, tomorrow if I am executing a script in, let us say, in one of the latest versions, let us say like 2.0 and 2.0, then we should also ensure that all the packages that were there in 1.9 or 1.8 should also work. For that, they have used some other different libraries for that purpose. We will see them later in case if we wanted to. Now, why did he first of all introduce this language? Because he thought the languages that were present at that point of time seems to be not that easy for a beginner to learn. For this reason, what he had actually done is he designed this particular language in such a way that everyone can use them very easily. In addition to that, the high focus that was kept on Python programming was readability of code. What does this readability of code means? It means that when you see a program that was written in Python, if you see a script that was written in Python, you should be able to understand it easily without much efforts. Because the philosophy what they have is simplicity is the best. So for this purpose, they have actually tried in such a way that everyone will be able to understand and everyone will be able to implement and everything. So they have also designed for clear logical code that is easy to read and learn and focuses on the optimizing the developer time. I'm not sure that uh, before I go to this, I wanted to know like that. What is your background? Are you from college or from which? In case if you're from college, from which year are you from? Or in case if you're working professional, then how many years of work experience do you have? Or maybe in which programming language do you have some experience in already? C, C++, or Java, or whatever it is, you can actually comment it out so that I will be able to understand. Do you have any prior programming language experience? If yes, third year, okay. Did you program prior to this? Yes, in which programming language was it? C, okay. Yes, I think most of you guys who are from, which would be from either third year or fourth year, or maybe just recently passed out or something like that. C and Python, that's great, which means Vamsi had already have some experience with Python, that's great. And maybe you might have already understood that when you're programming in C, was it easy for you to actually to do it in C language? In case if you just wanted to print hello world, then how many lines of program do you have to write? Or maybe if you wanted to write a very simple program, so you need like you need you need like lots and lots of lines to write. At that point of time, do you think it was pretty easy to write in C or in Python? Those guys who do not have any knowledge about programming language, please do not get worried about it. We will be going deep in Python, and we wanted to understand much more in this. So for this reason, please do not worry. So the reason why am I asking this is, in Python, if you wanted to develop something, you can develop it in very easy way, in a very easy way, and also like in less amount of time. And in industries, what people usually do is there is something called as like POC. How many of you are aware of this term POC? Yes, Vivek is aware of it. So because Vivek has some work experience in it. And others, do you have an idea of what POC is? Okay, no problem. In case if you don't know what POC is, maybe if I actually elaborate it, it will be easier for you to understand. It is called as like proof of concept. Proof of concept, okay? Proof of concept. So what does this means is like that in let us say that we are working in a team and then we are actually thinking of a concept, but uh, but if you wanted to show it to the customer, so how can you actually show it to the customer is like uh, for that you need to build up a prototype. A prototype is not the exact version, rather some other, what to say, like a demo version, okay, that way, so that the customer can see what is actually happening. And before I go forward, are you guys is there anyone in this particular group who cannot understand Telugu? Vivek, don't you understand Telugu, or do you understand Telugu? Only Hindi and English. Okay, Vivek. Okay, then I think then we will stick with English as our medium of communication. That's not an issue. In case if there is someone who wants to understand the concept in a better way, in case if you are not able to follow what I speak in English, you can always ask me. I will try my level best to explain you guys either in Telugu or Tamil, in case if there is someone from Tamil Nadu. But most of the time, it's 99.999% throughout the training, I will maintain the medium of communication as English. So yes. And now let us go forward. So the reason why I have actually asked you is like, if you can actually see here, the most important thing is that they have actually focused. It focuses, Python actually focuses on something called as like, it optimizes the developer time. Okay, it optimizes the developer time. What does that mean? That within few minutes of your time, you will be able to show a prototype to the customer, rather than the computer's processing time. Let us say that some application needs 1 hour to actually compute. In that case, what we will say is like that we will not waste that much amount of time, especially where when you go with some of the frameworks that needs some customized steps to execute. I will also give you an example in case if you're interested in. In such case, we will say like, no, I'm not interested in that, because I do not want it to waste that much amount of time. Let me just stick to let me just show a quick demo to the customer so that they can easily understand it. So at that point of time, the proof of concept, whenever, if you learn Python programming language, if you face a new issue, the first thing that comes into your mind is Python. That is what is happening with me, at least. If someone says like that, I wanted to do this task, I will say like that, why can't you do this in Python? Because their Python is so awesome. That's the reason. And about the version history, as I said, Python 1.0 was released in 1994, and 2.0 in 2000, and 3.0 was 2008, and 3.10.12 was 6th of June 2023, and as of 10th of July 2023, 3.11.4 is what that is being released. And right now we can see like that 3.10.12 is what we are going to use in our training program. Now you may ask, why did I go for 3.10.12 but not for 3.11.4 or 3.1? The reason why didn't I choose 3.1 at first place is like that the support that was offered for that particular version has been stopped. It has reached something called as like end of life support, which means in case if you have some bugs or something like that, if you actually report it to the Python developers, they may not say like that we will be releasing a version that is in 3.1.1 or something like that. Rather, they will say, okay, let us see if this bug is still present in the next versions or not, and they will check. Okay, so this is not there, this is there, then they will actually fix and they will release something which is like 3.11.5 instead. Now, why they came with this name as like Python? So Python developers have aimed, their main intention was that they want this particular programming language to be fun to use. For this particular thing, so they came across the name Python from this British comedy group called as like the Monty Python Flying Circus. Maybe the guys who wanted to invent this, maybe the guys who wanted to develop this particular programming language, they thought, okay, so they were actually watching a TV show, might be, I'm not totally sure, at that point of time, or they might be watching a movie. So the group of developers, or maybe our creator, the Guido van Rossum, he might have thought, okay, so why not I name it as like Python, or maybe this is his favorite show as well. Now the next part is like, why should you learn Python at first place? Because it's a friendly language. Maybe you might have understood why did I actually use. So so initially I might have actually explained it to you that Python is a friendly language. It is easy to start and implement. It's a general purpose language. What do I mean by general purpose language? It means that you can use this programming language for developing graphical user interface applications, for web applications, for machine learning, for deep learning, for artificial intelligence, or they even have included it in recommendation systems, which was also a part of the machine learning. And in addition to that, Python has a very huge community support, which means that in case if you wanted to implement a program, you do not have to implement it from scratch. You can actually give it a Google search and ask like that, I wanted to implement so and so, and can I get a sample snippet? Or maybe you can also find some snippets that are already there on the internet. So such kind of like huge community support, it is there. For example, whenever I was given a task from my company, I get the requirements from them. I understand, okay, so these are the requirements that we wanted to use, and why can't we? So why don't I go for Google and then look for something that is there already, and why don't I develop on top of that rather than reinventing the wheel? I wanted to make use of the wheel and then develop my own vehicle that is there. So that's the point, like why there are like lots and lots of libraries and frameworks that have come up in Python. In addition to that, some of the features that are there in Python are it has a very simple and straightforward syntax. It supports both functional and object-oriented programming. In case if you do not understand anything about functional and object-oriented programming, don't worry, we will be using it in our in our course a lot. Next, it emphasizes on code readability. Remember one thing, simplicity is the best. Okay. Next, dynamic typing. What does this dynamic typing means? Dynamic typing, so this, I think the guys who are actually having some knowledge in C program, they can relate it very easily. It means that if you wanted to define a variable, you have to specify a data type to it. Is it correct or not in C program? In case if you wanted to define a variable, you have to specify what is a data type of it. Correct. So in this case, what in Python, what happens is like you do not have to specify the data type. Python takes care of it by default. When you run the program, so it actually takes care of it. And it has a rich library support, which means that within the core programming language of Python, you already have several inbuilt features which you can actually make use of. We will use we will use some of them in our training program, and we will also use some other third party stuff as well. And for time critical operations, you can also use modules that are written in C in Python. Let us say that if you wanted in hardware applications where time is the most constrained part, in which you wanted some operations to be executed in seconds, then that is only possible if you have a very fast program. At that point of time, Python will have some issue with it because it has some extras to it. So for that reason, what people do is like they will say we will write it in C language and then we will actually put it onto our hardware. And the next important part is like platform independent. Python programming language is platform independent, which means if we run a program in Windows operating system, that means it will also run on the other operating systems like Linux or Mac OS or whatever it is. And the next one is high level language. So what does this high level language means? Is C a high level or low level language? Is C program is a high level or low level language? In case if you don't know, the answer is so C is also a high level language. The reason is that you do not go into you do not program it in close to the processor. In case if someone who is from ECE, so they might have actually understood that you do something with microcontrollers or microcontroller programming at that point, or microprocessor programming. In this case, you try to be so close to that particular processor and then you try to implement something. But whereas in Python or even in these programming languages, we are not at all interested to go into such a kind of such close to processor stuff. Rather, we wanted to uh, be at an be at a level in such a way that that whatever the program that we write, we write all the instructions and it takes care and it goes to that particular processor level and then it performs the tasks for us. C is a middle level language. That is also correct because it deals with both the processor stuff and also with the others. If you go to a very core level of C language, especially the pointers and all. And next important amazing fact of Python is like that it is ranked number 1 in the TIOB index. So TIOB index is one thing which you guys can actually see over here. Can you guys see my browser? Can you guys see my, yes, that's great. So here, if you see that as of July 2023, you can see like that Python is the one which is listed as the top programming language, and it has a rating of 13.42%. And there is no change, which means like even in July 2022, last year, and even in the current year, so Python was the top. And the second was of course C, then is like C++ and Java, and these two guys usually fight between each other in order to grab the next place. But Python is actually is being accepted, is accepted all over the industry, and then you can actually use it a lot. And you can also see like in 2017, 2000, Golang right now it is like it has been introduced very recently. It's not, but it is highly accepted in the industry as well. Golang is also like one of the most interesting programming languages that one can also learn. But if you start learning one programming language, learning others should be very easy to start with. The reason is that everything shares the same concepts, rather just the syntax varies. So you can actually do it very easily. And as I mentioned that why do people use Python for the proof of concept is like because the app development time is reduced by 1/6 with Python. It's very easy. And larger organizations such as Google, Netflix, YouTube, Instagram, you name whatever the company that is, they are using Python as a um, uh, part of their industry or like part of their applications. Some of the very useful applications, in case if you wanted to understand, is let me actually share this with you. So how many of you have gone through Amazon.in? Have you purchased something on Amazon so far? Yes, for sure. Yeah, if someone says like, no, I did not purchase from Amazon, then I think then we need to actually think, oh, why hasn't he purchased? So at this particular website, you might have already seen that some of them you can see like that today's deals, and some of the beauty products that are having some discounts. Some of them are like what are our furniture stores that are there very close by, or like if there are like how did Amazon come to know like that what am I interested in? I'm interested in this wireless product, or how can it know it? And if you see like in case when you try to click on something, for example, like let me say I have clicked on this or something like this, you can also see like that in addition to that there will be a place where you can also see like that. So featured items you may like. How did it come to know that I'm looking for an earpods or earbuds, or how did it come to know? The reason how did it come to know is like again it is based on one very nice machine learning algorithm that is called as like recommendation systems. Okay, recommendation systems, and that is also based on Python. So recommender systems and all these things are a part of machine learning things. So this machine learning will always be so enthusiastic, and that one has to learn for sure. But once you know a programming language, how you have to do it, then I think going forward in machine learning or whatever the field that you choose will be very easy. Now, where can we use Python? So you can develop websites, you can actually automate your tasks, you can perform data analysis, data visualization, AI, ML, IoT, and developing desktop applications, whatever you name it, you can actually do it in Python. And that's it from my end in terms of the presentation. I will also just discuss like what is the syllabus that we wanted to actually cover. Why not? You can also use it for gaming, but again, keep one thing in mind that again, if gaming, if you actually go for, you have to also think about the speed perspective, how fast you can actually access it. At that point of time, then again, you need to go front and back to understand why are we going with Python. So we start with the introduction of Python. For example, today I have given you an introduction, and so we will also go with the installation and setup tomorrow. I will also ensure that you all guys have the same setup like what I have, and then we will start with the basic things, like starting with how to write comments, and what are the data and constants, and what are variables, and what are data types and memory management, then what are the print methods, and what are keywords, import statements, type conversion, taking input from user, then decision control systems, everything that you can actually see, if statement. So these are all the building blocks of a programming language, so they are very much necessary. And then we also do with the iterative control. Why do we go for it? You can also understand it from the program. Then what are iterables in Python, and what are functions in Python? So there are lots and lots of types. And then we go with the object-oriented programming, which is one very most important thing which you guys should understand. And exception handling. This is an exception block, okay, which you guys have to understand a bit easier. And we will also discuss about it, and what are iterators, and what is git, and what is version control, why do you have to go for it. And we will also install some tools on our local machines. And then the major git is a tool with which you can perform version controlling. Git is a tool, is a source control management tool. You will understand it later in the training program, with which you can actually version your software or your scripts. Next, we will also, and this is the major part of our training program. The reason, so you have seen like that we have to teach API programming, in which you have like a request response system. What do I mean by that? And how can we work with JSON data? And what are different status codes that are there, and what is their meaning? And how does a server and how does a client communicate between each other? And some examples for that. And this is one very nice, beautiful thing which is called as like web scraping in Python, with Python. So for which we need some packages, and we will also try to scrape a sample websites. What do I mean by scrape? Is like that uh, we try to get an let us say we actually go for some sample website, and we think like, okay, let us get some useful data from it. For this reason, we are going to use a website which is called as like books to scrape. So this is an official website, and we will also understand some of the legal issues that we might face, like how do we have to do it. So we can also get like what is the title of it, what is the price of it, and how many rate, and what is the rating of this website. So you can actually do it, and what are the categories of the books that you have, and everything. And that is one project that you will have. And then we will start with what are your databases, and what are the different types of database that we have. And we will start with a database called as like DB-SQLite 3, which is a very very simple database which you wanted to work on. And then we will perform something called as like CRUD operations. Those guys who have some experience with the databases, they are already aware of it. So what do I mean by CRUD operations, and how do you perform joins? And then what are the relationships that you have between tables that you can have, and how can you integrate SQLite 3 with Python, and how to do that. Then we will start with what is an API, and how do we send API requests in Python. And we will also send our first API request at that point of time. And how can we send an API with we can also SQL is not sequent query language, Vamsi. Rather, it is wait, structured query language. Okay. And then you have like how can you actually send a request with some parameters, and what are parameters, how can you do that. And once we have this information, how can we develop these APIs using Flask, and what are different web frameworks that are there, and then introduction to Flask, and then how can you route something, and then how do you perform API programming, and how do you pass parameters. In a similar way, we will also deal with Django. So you might have also come across this particular web framework. And what is Django, and then what is a web, how do you perform some sample routing with Django. And then you perform some API programming with Django. And then you also test your APIs that you have designed using something called as like Postman. In addition to that, I will also show you some other tools, some other easier tools that you can do. And then we will also deal with fast API, in which we will also see how to install and then how to do that, and how to actually write your hello world, and why did we go for fast API, and how to actually generate your API documentation. With such a kind of a vast syllabus to control to cover in this particular training program, which you can actually showcase to your interviewer that, see, I am coming with such a kind of profile in on my resume, and I will be so good add-on to your company, because from the first day itself I can start dealing with several things that are there in Python. And at that point of time he will say like, okay, if that's the case, then he will say like, okay, so we have so and so application, and we wanted to give it to the customer, so how do you do it, how do you give it? At that point of time, now you should think how that you need to actually use something called as like APIs. Then you will understand, okay, so why do you need an API, and that's it. And I think this is what we wanted to actually cover as a part of this particular training program. And that's it from my end. And in case if you guys have any other queries, if you wanted to talk to me, you can always raise your hand, and we can actually go forward. Just give me a second. Okay. Yeah, Vivek, you should have got an option. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Pawan. Very
Hi.
good evening.
Good
So
evening.
yeah, I mean, I have close to 6 years of experience,
Mm-hmm.
in which 3.5 years of experience in DevOps, right?
Mm-hmm.
So currently, in my current organization, I have been mapped to a project, right? In
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, initially I was onboarded as a DevOps engineer, right? But
Mm-hmm.
here I need to take care of DevOps plus AWS integration, right? So
Yeah.
for AWS integration, actually, I need to take care maximum on like my work will be maximum on writing Lambda function in
Mm-hmm.
Python,
Yeah.
and and integration of different components like with AWS, like MuleSoft and Salesforce, right?
I'm not aware of that.
So it's a component basically. So I need to integrate it with AWS
Mm-hmm.
with the help of Lambda functions, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
right? And apart from it, like some API development kind of things, I also required.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my approach. Actually, I am moving to to a country where you are right now for this
Okay.
project. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is my requirement, because I need to also learn this language for like for AWS Lambda function.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So the first things first is like that. If you wanted to operate something on AWS, especially with Python, you have some packages in Python that are called as like Boto Core, Boto 3 and
Protocol.
Boto Core.
Yes, yes.
So you need these packages at first, and then you need to understand how does these packages actually work.
Hmm.
And the next part is like that within this within in addition to that, you should also understand what are all the CLI commands that are there on AWS.
Yeah, that I know very often. I mean, I know very,
Yeah.
very
So
deep. Yeah.
because like, yeah, if you go into the Boto Core or Boto 3, so you can also like use some of them over there.
Hmm.
The reason why I'm saying this is like that, within Python we have one useful package that is called as like OS, which
Hmm.
is the operating system. And using this particular command, you can actually run a direct command on it. You can actually say like, oh, AWS S3LS within the os.system module.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's also possible to do in such a way. And regarding the next question, what you have, the Salesforce thing. So this particular training program is focusing majorly on the candidates who wanted to learn a programming language and wanted to develop some basic APIs.
Mm-hmm.
Because we will not be focusing on AWS, because that would be too much for the candidate to actually learn without learning a programming language at first. So yeah, in this case, I think the best person to talk to will be Siva for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that is fine. I can import that library Boto code, right? I mean, the thing is, I just want to myself in a position that I can write a code anywhere, right?
Yeah, for sure. That is always possible. In case if you are part of this training program,
Mm-hmm.
you can develop APIs with it. So
APIs
developing
and
it.
like if and let's say 500 lines of code I need to write, then I can easily write and I can easily understand if someone has written it. So
For
that
sure,
way,
yeah.
hmm. Okay, and yeah, and one last question is, which project you are going to cover?
So we will be covering the basic projects that we have. For example, the web scraping with Python. That will be the first and major. That will be the first project in which we understand how can we collect data. And the next thing is like that we have a database that we have with us, and we try to perform some operations on the database, and we try to design some APIs in such a way that you actually send a request to the database and fetch your information, perform some joins and everything like that.
Okay, so you will do the you will send the response to database.
Yeah, we will send a request to the database and we get a response.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you handle that request? Because and in case if you are not able to reach your database, and how will you be able to handle it? So all these things.
Okay. So can I justify, I mean, if I'll be changing my role to Python developer, core Python developer, can I justify that I was working as a DevOps engineer along with the 2 years experience in Python development or, Lambda development and Python development, Lambda and
So
API development?
so first thing is like within AWS you also have something called as like Lambda, AWS Lambda, which is a serverless technology.
Mm-hmm.
So that Lambda and this Lambda will be different. It
No,
will not
no,
be the
I'm
same.
talking, no. Actually, in AWS, you can write the Python code as a Lambda
Yeah.
function, right?
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
that is the Python code only.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's the thing.
okay. Yeah. So if that's the case, I think you can actually showcase because you already have some work experience with you. If you can actually see some of the automation tasks that you can actually do in your daily life as a part
Mm-hmm.
of your work using Python, you can always tell people that okay, so this is what I have done as a part of my work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So any other questions, guys? In case if you wanted to talk to me, please raise your hand so that I can actually unmute you. And okay, so there is one question from, I am not sure who is this name. Can you please let me know your name, Vivo T1 5G? Yep. Okay. So whomsoever it is. Yeah. So the fees, regarding the fees, kindly please get in touch with your with the person who has given you this particular meeting link. So he will be the one who will be able to give you more information on it. And regarding the duration of this particular course, so I'm assuming that we can cover the complete content in 1.5 months, and the timings will be the same timing. So it will be from 7:30 p.m. IST to 9 p.m. IST. Unfortunately, because I'm currently in Germany, and also like I'm a working professional. And regarding the projects, I think I have already discussed within the introduction session itself. And regarding your next question, can we maintain and access database through Python? I'm not sure what do you mean by maintain. And regarding accessing database through Python, yes, it is highly possible that we will actually do that in the course. You can actually access all the databases whatever you want. I think to which they actually have their interface that is enabled with, so that you can actually access through Python. I hope I have answered your query, Vivo T1 5G. Yes, you can create tables in the database through Python. What do I mean by interface is like that you can actually perform all kinds of operations on it. So that's what we will see through Python. We will not be covering in-depth SQL language in this particular training program. Rather, we will actually cover basics in such a way like that, performing joins and everything. So yeah. So how do you join different tables? We will also understand them. What is Django? Django is a web framework, so with which you can actually develop some web applications. And whenever you have some data, so in case if you wanted to fetch the data, or if you wanted to expose it to the outer world, so you do it through API. Are there any other questions, guys? Okay. In case if someone wants to talk to me, you can I will actually give the access to you guys so that you can actually yeah, I have actually allowed given you the access that you can actually unmute yourself and you can talk. You cannot build a website because building a website is a total different thing, because you should also understand how does HTML work and how does CSS work, how does JavaScript work and everything. So you need to learn all those components, and then only you will be able to build up websites, and you can use Django as a part of it. Yeah. You can do whatever you want. For example, in my particular, so usually I would say that I'm not sure if you're aware of MERN, MEARN or MERN, Vivo T1 5G. Are you aware of it? Okay, so that is kind of an that is called as like a full stack developer. Okay, full stack web developer. What do they mean by full stack? Means like that you're controlling both front end and the back end. And what we do is we say that okay, I am not a full stack developer. I'm a backend engineer. Okay, I'm a backend engineer, so that whatever that you write in the front end, the good looking part, we would say that we will actually integrate with the database and whatever the other components that we have. For that reason, we use Python as a backend developer. Okay, APIs is a backend developer thing. Is there a possibility to access all functions by using Python? What do I mean by all functions? Maybe in case if you want, you can also unmute yourself and then talk, Vamsi. No. Please don't be sorry. Everything, whatever you say, like in case, even if it is a mistake, it's it's a stepping stone to learn. Even if you make a mistake, never ever feel about it, because or else you would not understood what you wanted to say. So during the training, we actually offer you the complete introduction to Python and all these things. And within the internship, we will actually assign you a project in which you guys have to actually work on it, and then you actually need to share that project with us. And we will actually share that more information regarding it in once we are done with the training. సో సైబర్ సెక్యూరిటీకి పైథాన్ ఎలా యూస్ అవుతుందంటే ఇప్పుడు మనకి మామూలుగా ఆటోమేషన్ టాస్క్స్ ఏవోటి ఉంటాయి అనమాట సైబర్ సెక్యూరిటీలో. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నీకు లాగ్స్ కానీ లేకపోతే ఏవోటి జనరేట్ అవుతున్నాయి అనుకుందాం. జనరేట్ అయిన లాగ్స్‌లో నుంచి నీకు ఏదో ఒక యూజ్‌ఫుల్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ కావాలి. ఆ యూజ్‌ఫుల్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఏంటంటే ఒక నార్మల్ పర్సన్‌గా నువ్వు ఒక కూర్చొని జస్ట్ నువ్వు ఆ లాగ్ మొత్తం చదివి అర్థం చేసుకోవడం అనేది అది నీ వల్ల కాదు. ఆ టైంలో నువ్వేం చేస్తావంటే మనం ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాద్దాం. వై నాట్ అని చెప్పేసి. ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాసేటప్పుడు అనమాట ఒక ఆలోచనొస్తది. ఏంటి మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు నీ లాగ్ మొత్తం చదవటానికి నేను నా సొంతంగా నేను ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాయాలా? ఏ వేరే వాళ్ళు రాసిన ప్రోగ్రామ్‌ని తీసుకోకూడదా అని. ఆ టైంలో మనకు ఫస్ట్ వచ్చే థాట్ ఏంటంటే పైథాన్ వాడుకుంటే ఎందుకంటే యూజ్‌ఫుల్‌గా ఉండకూడదు. ఎందుకంటే అందులో మనకు చాలా లైబ్రరీస్ ఉన్నాయి. ఆ లైబ్రరీస్ యూజ్ చేసుకొని మనం తప్పనిసరిగా చేసుకోవచ్చని చెప్పి దెన్ మనం దానికి స్విచ్ ఆన్ అవుతామనమాట. నేను సైబర్ సెక్యూరిటీలో పని చేయట్లేదు. సో, కాబట్టి నాకు అంతగానో ఐడియా లేదు. బట్ యాహ్! యూజువల్‌గా అయితే గనక లాగ్స్ కానీ, లేకపోతే గనక నువ్వేమైనా చేయాలంటే ఆర్ సెక్యూరిటీ పర్పస్ కానీ పీపుల్ యూజువల్‌గా అయితే పైథాన్ కూడా వాడుతూ ఉంటారు. లాగ్, లాగ్ కాదు లాగ్. ఎల్‌ఓజీ లాగ్. లాగ్ అంటే ఏంటంటే సర్వర్‌లో మనం ఏ పని చేస్తామో ఆ అదంతా కూడా రికార్డ్ అవుతదనమాట ఆ ఫైల్‌లో. నువ్వు ఏ వెబ్‌సైట్ యాక్సెస్ చేశావు, లేకపోతే గనక నువ్వు ఏ ప్రొడక్ట్ చూస్తున్నావు, లేకపోతే గనక నీ కార్ట్‌లో నువ్వు పర్చేస్ చేశావా లేదా? నీకు అది డెలివర్ అయిందా లేదా? సో, ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అంతా కూడా లాగ్‌లో ఉంటదనమాట. AI ML background, yes, I am from AI ML background, but as a part of this training program, I won't be covering it. For sure, not only as a Python API developer, okay? So API is something what you can actually use everywhere. It's not only just for this. So as a Python developer, you can actually get into it, and also as an API developer, there will be some other technologies that you might have to learn, and using that, it is possible to do so. ML, what is the purpose of ML? So I have given one easier example. Maybe Vijay, do you understand Telugu? ఓకే గ్రేట్. సో సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్‌గా నీకు చెప్పాలంటే నువ్వు జీమెయిల్‌లో రీసెంట్‌గా వచ్చిన ఫీచర్స్‌ని ఆహ్, జీమెయిల్‌లో నీకు రీసెంట్‌గా వచ్చిన ఫీచర్స్ ఏవైనా సరే నువ్వు గాని గమనించుకనుకున్నట్టయితే నువ్వు ఒక టెక్స్ట్ రాస్తూ ఉంటావు. లైక్ హాయ్ మై నేమ్ ఈస్ సో అండ్ సో అండ్ ఐ యామ్ లుకింగ్ ఫర్ సో అండ్ సో పొజిషన్ ఇన్ యువర్ కంపెనీ అని చెప్పి నువ్వు రాసే లోపలే అది నీకు ఆటో ఫిల్ ఇచ్చేస్తుంది. ఆటో కంప్లీట్ కూడా ఇచ్చేస్తుంది. అదెలా పాసిబుల్? ఎందుకంటే దేర్ ఈస్ సంథింగ్ కాల్డ్ యస్ లైక్ నేచురల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ప్రాసెసింగ్ అంటారు. సో, ఆ మోడల్స్ లాంటివేంటంటే, ఆ మోడల్స్ వాళ్ళు చాలా పెద్ద డేటా మీద వాళ్ళు ట్రైన్ చేసి, వాటిని వాళ్ళ సర్వర్‌లో పెట్టి, తర్వాత నువ్వేదైతే సరే టైప్ చేస్తున్నావో, దే యూజువల్లీ ఇంటర్ప్రెట్ ఇట్ అండ్ ఆ మోడల్ నీకు వెంటనే నీకు ఔట్‌పుట్ కూడా ఇస్తుందనమాట. సో, దట్ ఈస్ ఎ వెరీ సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆఫ్ మెషీన్ లెర్నింగ్. ఇంకా సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గాని చెప్పాలంటే, ఇప్పుడు మెషీన్ లెర్నింగ్‌లో ఒక సబ్ పార్ట్ ఏంటంటే, నీకు డీప్ లెర్నింగ్ అని చెప్పి ఒకటుంటదనమాట. దాంట్లో ఉన్నటువంటి ఒక సబ్ పార్ట్ ఇంకా మళ్ళీ నీకు ఆహ్, ఫేస్ రికగ్నిషన్ అనుకోవాలి. ఈ ఫేస్ రికగ్నిషన్ గురించి ఎన్ని సార్లు మాట్లాడుకున్నా గూడా మనకు చాలా తక్కువగా అనిపిస్తదనమాట. రీజన్ ఏంటంటే, మన రోజు వాడే మొబైల్ ఫోన్ ఏదైతే ఉంటదో, ఆ మొబైల్ ఫోన్‌లో నువ్వు నీ ఫేస్ గనక నువ్వు నీ కెమెరా గాని చూపించినట్టయితే దెన్ యూ ఆర్ ఈజిలీ అన్లాకింగ్. హౌ ఈస్ ఇట్ పాసిబుల్? బికాజ్ ఎలా అంటే నీ మొబైల్‌లో ఒక మోడల్ ఉంది. ఆ మోడల్‌కి ఏంటంటే నువ్వు ఇనీషియల్‌గానే డేటా అనేది దానికి సప్లై చేస్తూ ఉన్నావు. ఆ డేటా అది రికార్డ్ చేసుకొని, దాని ద్వారా మళ్ళీ అది అన్‌లాక్ అవుతుందనమాట. ఫేస్ అన్‌లాకింగ్ సిస్టమ్ అనేది. సో, దట్ ఈస్ వన్ వెరీ సింపుల్ థింగ్. యాహ్! ఐ థింక్ ఎవరో గాని బద్రి? Yes, Pawan, that is correct. OpenCV is the one which we use for doing all such tasks. Hello? Badri, do you have any question? Yeah. So regarding can we be full aware of Python programming language by the end of the training? It's not just the full Python programming. Rather, we would say like that this gives you a very strong foundation for you to go forward. It's not just only it's like there are several advanced concepts in Python which as an intermediate programmer you may not need it. Whenever there is a requirement in a project, at that point of time you may need it. చాలా సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గా చెప్పాలంటే, ఇప్పుడు నేను మా కంపెనీలో నన్ను ఒక ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ ఒక డిజైన్ ఏదో చేయమన్నారు అనమాట. కానీ నేను ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ డిజైనర్ ని కాదు. ఆ టైంలో నాకేమైందంటే, ఓకే, మరి ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ మరి నాకు తెలియదు కదా, దాన్ని మరి నేను ఎలా డిజైన్ చేయగలను అనేది ఒక ఐడియా, అదొక థాట్ అనమాట. అప్పుడు సో చాలా డెవలపర్స్ ఏం చేశారంటే, మనకి చాలా ఫ్రేమ్ వర్క్స్ ని ఒక ప్యాకేజ్ గా మనకి ఇచ్చేసారనమాట. మీరు వాడుకోండి, ఇబ్బంది లేదు మాకు, మీరు ఫ్రీ ఆఫ్ కాస్ట్ లో మీరు వాడుకోండి అని. ఆ ప్యాకేజ్‌ని వాడుకొని, ఆ ప్యాకేజ్ ఏం చేస్తుందంటే, నేను బ్యాక్ ఎండ్‌లో నేను పైథాన్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ రాసినట్టయితే, నాకు ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్‌లో అదొక యూఐ ఇస్తుందనమాట. ఒక యూజర్ ఇంటర్‌ఫేస్ అనేది నాకిస్తుంది. నాకు ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ గురించి నేనేమి పట్టించుకోను. బట్ కానీ చాలా సింపుల్ లైన్స్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్ గనుక రాసేస్తే, నాకు ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్‌లో నాకొక అవుట్‌పుట్ ఇచ్చేస్తుందనమాట. సో, దట్ ఈస్ వన్ వెరీ సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ లైక్ చైతన్య ఫర్ యూ. సీసీటీవీ యాక్సెస్‌ని పైథాన్‌లో కంట్రోల్ చేయొచ్చా సార్? నేనైతే ఇప్పుడు దాకా ఎప్పుడు ట్రై చేయలేదు వంశీ. సో, కాబట్టి నేను దాని గురించి అయితే నేను కామెంట్ చేయను. సో, యాక్సెస్ చేయొచ్చా అంటే, యూ కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ గెట్ ద డేటా. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఓపెన్ సీవీలో ఏంటంటే మనకి మేబీ ఇంతకు ముందు చెప్పింది నువ్వేనా? ఓపెన్ సీవీ కాదు. సో, ఓపెన్ సీవీ అనేది ఒక లైబ్రరీ ఉందనమాట. సో, ఆ ఓపెన్ సీవీ అనే లైబ్రరీలో యూ కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ యాక్సెస్ ది సీసీటీవీ కెమెరా. యూ కెన్ యాక్సెస్ ఇట్. బట్ యూ షుడ్ బి ఆథరైజ్డ్ టు డూ ఇట్. In case if you do not have the authorized credentials or if you are not allowed to do so, you should not do it. But you can access it, yes. Are there any other questions? In advanced Python, GUI application also included. Not GUI application, because within one and a half month, I will not be able to teach you like how to actually build a full-fledged GUI applications. Rather, I can actually show you how to do it using some libraries that are there. Maybe that will be the end of the program, end of the training program also, so that it will be also interesting for you to see. Yeah, are there any others? In case if you have understood what I have taught today, like the basic introduction and also the way of teaching that I like, kindly please give a thumbs up in the chat, so that I will also get a feedback from it. And in case if you wanted to share some vocal feedback with me, that will also be great. Or you can also share it with the person who had actually shared this URL with you. Thank you, Chaitanya. Thank you, Srilata. Thank you, Lavanya. Thanks a lot. In case if you wanted to talk to me in Telugu, please feel free to talk, because in case if you guys are in your third year or in the fourth year, so very soon you will be appearing to the interviews, and at that point of time, you should not think, you should not have that particular thing in your mind that no, I will not be able to talk. Keep talking to your friends, and keep talking in front of a mirror, so that you understand what is your body language actually, whether you are talking correctly, or is your face so angry when you're speaking, or is it smiley when you're speaking. So you will understand it much better. Yeah, so I'm stopping the recording from this, but I will stay on the call. In case if you have any other questions, you can actually ask me. In case if you do not have any other questions, you can actually leave. Regarding the placements, We will actually help you by sharing the jobs, whatever that we get as a part of like referrals from the companies, for example, like job postings and all. And for and the next thing is like we will also help you with the resume building and all. We will also see like whether your resume is fit enough or not, or what to be included and what not to be included, and what should be removed as a part of your resume. So those things as well. And Nagendra, regarding which coding language is best, Java or Python, this again depends on your use case, whatever that you wanted to do. If your use case says like that, I wanted to learn a programming language at first, start with Python. Python is the best thing that you should actually start with. I can actually proudly say like that my first programming language, which I understood perfectly, is Python. Before C and C++, the first programming language that I understood and which gave me the confidence that I can write programs, especially, was Python. Yeah. We will see some very nice, what to say, very nice examples. Maybe in the next session or in the upcoming session, I will actually show you a sample example, and then you guys tell me what is the output just using the plain English. Okay, just plain English. You will not write anything. I will just only write very plain English, and then you guys give me the answer. Okay. In addition to that, we will also have some in-class assignments as well. So we will also solve some programming tasks. You guys should also do the program in parallel with me, and you should actually try it. I will give you some tasks to try on, and you should actually share the output with me. And also, like, you should also, maybe if possible, like, I might also ask someone to actually explain me the logic, what is there. In case if you're not able to give it, that's totally fine. I will try to explain you what is actually happening in the background. That way you can also understand what is happening in the program, where are we making mistakes, how can we overcome them, and how can we solve them. That is more important. Yeah. Okay, so let me stop the recording, but I will be on the call once again. So I will stop the recording.